Hello, and welcome back to Link's Awakening. Uh, this is part of the Asperger's podcast with Ben. I think that's what the title is. Anyway, if we recall, we are still trying to farm these purple rupees right here, and we are trying to get the bow and arrow. We have 467 rupees, so let's get started. And yeah, I'm glad to once again be able to be here with you all, whoever's watching, whenever you're watching. I hope you are enjoying this. Uh, it, uh, yeah, this is and I didn't get it the first one, the first time trying to get this, and I didn't get it. Um, yeah, so I've been I haven't done the audio podcast portion of this on the Bandcamp page in a few days, and I don't think I'm gonna get this. No, no, no. Oh, see, now it's gonna go on those. Anywho, yeah, I haven't been doing the audio portion for a bit, and part of it is because I just this is really odd. I don't know why. I don't know why this isn't working for me. The problem is everything just seems to be going the culture because part of the whole thing with the Asperger's podcast was cultural observations and such. And okay, this is the video game. I mean, come on here. This is crazy. We are not doing good here. It seems like this game is broken. seems like it's broken. Okay, this doesn't work. I am so gonna have to go out and just farm in the fields for rupees. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, with this next one, we're just gonna be up to where we were whenever we started. I've lost so many rupees in this. Yeah, this is ridiculous. The guy laughs. Oh, he's taking my money. Of course he goes, oh, because he's taking my money. It's almost like a goofy laugh. Oh, yuck. Oh, man, oh, man. Yeah, look at this. Watch whenever I get this. Did you see that? It even fell out. This is so rigged. I'm down. We were at 467, and now we're at 397. This is ridiculous. Uh, I had it. I had it good the first time. I had it good on the first time, and this is 4 minutes into it, and we haven't really accomplished anything. This is ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, so I haven't really been doing the audio podcast. If you're watching this and thinking, "Oh, why is this part of the Asperger's podcast with Ben, where you really haven't been doing the audio podcast?" Well, I did one a few days ago, but the whole thing is that this culture, everything seems to be going really crazy. Look, we just broke even. 5 minutes in the video, and we just broke even. But anyway, the culture is going crazy, and everything's just going really like breaking up tradition and just everything, and nothing seems sacred anymore, and it just seems all really bad and uh, really subjective and all that stuff. And it's just like everyone wants to criticize everything and be at each other's throats and all that stuff. And it's really in looking at the cultural observation, it's like, well, I don't know how to keep up with it. it's just really sad, and it's just like kind of disheartening, to be quite honest, because every day there's something new, rehashing of the same kind of story and all that stuff. And it's just like, oh man, what do we do here? There's only so many times that I could say, hey, the progressive mindset's bad. Hey, isolation isn't necessarily the best, and we really should be mindful of that. But there's only so much that I can say concerning that. And of course, my theological work is different, going by verse in the Bible, and doing that. And that's of course what my theological post is. But uh, other than that, I mean, everything else is kind of, redundant, and kind of the same thing. And it's just, how does that promote hope? Okay, so I made this joke in one of my jokes. I don't know if you guys listen to it or not, but the joke is, I like watching the news before I go to bed because I like to fall asleep nervous and worried, and that's pretty much what it is. We watch the news and we see all this stuff that's happening, and it's like, well, how how is this beneficial to us? How is this good for us? And, yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be mindful of what's going on. I'm all for that. I'm all for knowing what's going on. But then, at what point do we stop there? I mean, do we just become armchair politicians? Oh, I wouldn't have done that. Oh, he's doing this wrong. Oh, blah 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 blah. And at that point, it's just like, well, what are we doing? And so, but then we can't, and then along with that, see, we can't just bury our heads in the sand and say, hey, this isn't happening, or this is happening, or something like that. The world's just put on our rose tinted glasses and being like, oh, this world's just all fine and dandy, and everything's just all peachy keen, when it's not. So I mean, at what point do we then, where's that healthy balance is what I'm trying to say here. And so that's kind of like why this is cool. We're playing Zelda Link's Awakening here, and yeah, it might be this might seem redundant farming rupees, uh, but just going through this and being like, oh hey, this is kind of cool. This is kind of, um, this and just kind of talking about things that are going on. One thing also too that I was kind of thinking on, not just now thinking on, but I was thinking on the other day, and I was just talking about it earlier, briefly tonight. I used to hang out at like coffee shops and talk to people and all this stuff, and that's how I'd get my what's that? What's the word that I'm looking for? I talking to people. I'd get my so so socializing. There's the word. There's the word for today. Socializing. So that's where I get my socialization in, during the day. Is I'd like go to coffee shops and hang out there for a bit. I would do my writing, because before I did this podcast, the audio podcast, I'd still do I'd write articles and post them daily, and then do my posting of the articles there and talk to people and get my socializing in there, and all that, and it seems good. But we don't have that anymore. And that's kind of what I was discussing last time whenever we were farming for some rubies, is that we don't, you know in FaceTime and all that stuff. That's not, it's kind of socializing, but then it's only like a faux socializing, a pseudo socializing. I mean, yeah, we get to talk to one another, but we're not in the same room. We don't get to be in the presence of one another. There's quite the difference of being on the screen compared to being in one another's company. And unfortunately, I was just talking with a gentleman tonight about that. We were discussing how, kids at school, like on the screen, are missing out at being at school, where in between classes you talk to your friends, or even your acquaintances, and even in class where you're talking to the people who and conversing with them, and just honing those social skills, as it were, because now in our culture right now, in how everything is isolated, again, not getting all political here, so we'll just say being isolated for this past year. Uh, it's kind of no longer. It's like we're losing our social skills. I mean, uh, we don't have the chance to hone them anymore, and I think that's a real detriment to us. And it's kind of like we're digressing rather than progressing and everything. And so it's quite interesting because this quote unquote, not to go back, well, to go back to this anyway, to go back to the progressive mindset, it's not a progressive mindset because it's more like a regressive mindset in terms of going backwards. Because part of the whole thing with society, and after we do this one, then I'll end, after, if I can get this one. So anyway, in looking at how we're isolated from, oh shoot, and looking at how we are isolated from one another, I see why I didn't get it last time. Okay. And looking at how we're isolated from one another, it breaks the bonds of community, and we no longer have that sustaining or restraining power in which, oh, I don't want to act bad because I don't want other people to kind of copy what I'm doing. Rather it's because we're isolated and alone where all this stuff comes up, and it's like, oh, this is more of a regressive state than a progressive state, which is bad. So we're at 11 minutes and about 30 seconds. So let me just try and get this red rupee real quick. If I can. If I can't, then whatever. You might be able to get it. Anyway, yeah. So it's just like in isolation. That's when all these thoughts come, and that's why it's so unhealthy. Because we've heard of people. Well, let's just say, for lack of a better term, and I've heard this online, so I didn't coin this phrase, but self-deleting. We've heard many instances of self-deletion and all that stuff, and it's just this isolation is really not good for us. And yeah. So anyway, we did it. Okay, so now let's see here. We are at 735 rupees, which is good because we need 980. So hopefully next time, as long as we don't lose too many, then next time, then we hopefully will get up to 980 rupees. But anyway, I thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. All right, bye.